Alright, today we're going to make another fermented drink, a drink called Beet Kvass. Normally I start off with a beetroot slightly larger than this one, that's why I've got an extra one to go with it. And a slightly large beetroot I normally use in a 2 litre bottle. First, in the preparation Beet Kvass, I just trim the bits off the top which could have dirt or grit in there, which will make the drink unenjoyable. You don't have to always peel this off. If you want to be more raw, you can. Some people just leave the skin on and chop it up, but some people like to peel it all. If it's inorganic, I would completely peel it, but if it's organic, you could probably go this way. Alright, now making Beet Kvass, we basically use salt, whey, and beetroot, and water. It's all we use to make Beet Kvass. It's all the ingredients you need. Some people don't use whey, or use a very small amount of whey. Some people don't use salt, but I always use salt, especially Himalayan salt, the pink salt, because it's high in minerals. And there are studies these days that show that we should be having a good level of salt in our diet, not the recommendations of some of our government organisations. Alright, so what we'll do, we'll chop this up. You chop it up in about no less than 1 centimetre or ½ inch squares. You will get small bits, of course, but you don't worry about them. Some people cut them in larger chunks, which I feel is a bit of a shame, because you really want to get as much surface area to ferment as possible. So mine are about 1 centimetre. There are smaller bits there, of course. Beet Kvass is a great probiotic because it's a fermented drink. It's fantastic for the liver and lots of other digestive issues. And for those who understand that quite often a red food is good for the blood, and anything that's good for the liver and kidneys and digestive system will naturally be good for the blood. Anyway, so that's all you do. You chop them up into a 2 litre container. Now I usually use round about ½ a teaspoon of salt. If you don't want to use salt, you don't have to, but I always do. Sometimes I go a bit more. If you're on a ketogenic diet, I would certainly encourage putting salt into your drink. And sometimes I even have the drink and then add salt on top of it to keep up my salt levels. Now this is whey. It's been made from kefir. My son actually made a kefir cheesecake, and he collected the whey out there for me when he drained it out, and I bottle it, and this container here is probably nearly a month old, and I've gotten down nearly halfway there. And it's the whey that I use for my Beet Kvass, and I personally think whey is a good thing because it's got protein in it and lots of other goodies in it as well, plus the natural bacteria that's there already. Now I personally put in about 1/3 of a cup in. Some people will go down to even a teaspoon, but I think you're trying to make a super drink, and you're adding as much nutrients, minerals, and what have you can into it, so you get a nutrient dense drink as you possibly can. So all you do is you add chopped up beetroot, So half a teaspoon or half a teaspoon of salt, depending on what you want. You don't have to have salt if you don't wish to. And also, final ingredient is water. Now this water is from the tap that was chlorinated. It has been left out for 12 to 24 hours. I just leave the lid off and let it air out, and it dechlorinates itself naturally, and I've been doing that for quite a while now, so it does work. So just the ingredients again. This is approximately a 2 litre jar. I use a sort of large beetroot, but not too large. I use 1/3 cup of whey and 1/2 to 1 teaspoon of Himalayan salt, and then you add water, and there it is. And you give that a shake if you wanted to mix, but you don't have to. Now you leave that for about 2 to 3 days. You don't want to leave it a long time because it starts becoming alcoholic, and that's another reason why you don't cut the beetroot down too small. So there's such sugar in the beetroot that it actually becomes slightly alcoholic, especially if you leave it for a long time. If you drink a lot of it, it'll turn your urine pink or even red. Your feces, excreta, will go red as well, so don't get shocked about the change of colour when you go to the toilet. But it's great for a detoxifier for your liver, and it can, in some cases, if you drink a lot of it, a large batch, like if you drank a cup that size every day, you could end up with the runs, a bit of diarrhea, but that might be a good thing for some. Alright, and just to give you a demonstration of what it looks like, this is of course, we try and recycle everything, don't we? So this is another bottle that has been recycled. It used to have apple juice in it. This one used to have raw milk, so the kefir whey was made out of raw milk, and this bottle was made out from a fresh water container. So we recycle what we can, and that's what it looks like after a few days. What you do, you get your container and a small sieve, and then you just tip it into a bowl and filter out the large bits of beetroot, pour it in a jar, store it in the fridge, and it tastes better being chilled. And depending on how strong you make it, it can be quite flavoursome. Some people don't like it, but I do. Also, it has a bit of an effervescence about it, a bit of a fizz. Alright, so I'll pour that out just to show you what it looks like. Myself, I would probably drink about that much a day. There you are. That is how simple it is to make beet kvass.